Welcome to Paper Classroom's first Introduction to Papermaking course to be delivered online. This course is really a short version of my 2-day course, Orientation Course in Papermaking. The Orientation Course in Papermaking, delivered over 2 days face to face, is accredited by the National Skills Academy. In this short introduction, I will talk you through the 11 modules that make up my 2-day course. The first module is the history of papermaking. We start here with the humble wasp. We look at the Egyptians' use of papyrus, the invention of the papermaking techniques as we know it today by the Chinese, and how papermaking moved across the globe, out of China into the Middle East, down into North Africa, up into Europe, into the UK, and finally over to the USA. In this module we also look at some of the facts and figures associated with papermaking. In this module on fibres, we look at sources of fibre, such as hardwoods, softwoods, non-wood fibres that are generally annual crops, and of course recycled fibre. We look at the chemical structure of the fibre, and we look at the physical structure of the fibre. We couldn't have papermaking without water, and when papermakers established paper mills many years ago, it had to be at the side of a river. The water carries the fibre through the process from the stop prep right through to the sheet formation. So in this module we'll look at sources of water, we'll look at problems caused by water, and we'll look at recycling water. There's very complex chemistry goes on in the wet end of a paper machine. That's far too wide and too deep a subject for this introductory course. Here we'll simply talk about the functional aids that are used in papermaking. A functional aid is a chemical that's put in there to give the final sheet a property that the customer requires. And we'll also look at process aids. Process aids are put there to make the process more economical and to make life easier for the paper maker. In this stock preparation module we'll look at the slushing of fibres, and we'll look at how we do work on fibres. Things like conical refiners, disc refiners, even beaters. And those are okay generally for virgin fibre material, but for recycled fibre, then we need to look at how we clean up recycled fibre. In this approach flow module, it starts at the machine chest and it carries on to the flow box. This is where we carry out operations such as mixing of different fibre types or blending, addition of chemicals, removal of contaminants with screens and cleaners, removal of air, possibly using a deculator. And of course this is where we control the flow of fibre going to the flow box. So we control both the concentration of fibres in water, or consistency as we call it, and the rate of flow. For sheet formation paper in this course, we're generally talking about single ply sheets produced on a standard Fordrinia machine. Papers such as label paper, newspaper, printings and write-ins. Board is a much heavier weight paper material than paper, traditionally multi-layer, so we will look at how multi-layer products are produced, using multi-wire formers or vat machines, and we'll look at the dewatering of this material. Finally, when we consider sheet formation, we'll look at the tissue sector. Tissue is lightweight materials, normally less than 40 grams. This includes cigarette paper, tea bag and coffee filter, and traditional household tissues that you find around the home: toilet paper, kitchen roll, facial tissue. More than 95% of the water that we use in papermaking is lost through the wire. The remaining material we have to remove as economically as possible. So we do this in the first instance by pressing out as much water as we can. So in this area, in this section, we'll look at different press designs and an overview of the pressing mechanism. The drying section of a paper mill is the most expensive part. The little bit of water that's left uses huge amounts of energy in order to evaporate it. So we'll look at traditional methods of drying paper, so-called contact methods, where the paper is in contact with a hot surface, and we'll also look at other methods such as air impingement, and we'll mention briefly infrared and microwave. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this introduction to the following modules. The course is designed so that you can look at each module in isolation, or you can work your way through in a logical sequence depending on what your needs are. So enjoy my first short online course, and maybe I look forward to seeing you in one of my face-to-face courses in the future. Enjoy.